Hi guys, welcome to the weekly update for the public. We'll get straight into it. And we got the chart I'm showing here, which no one on planet Earth has shown on social media yet. And that's because they don't know the different types of things you can look at, because all they do is just copy everyone else. So this will come out, just like I said in a video I did many months ago about this other anchored VWAP that you do from the bottom, and then at the next bear market it comes underneath it or touches it. We have a look from the bottom, comes underneath, from the bottom, next bear market comes underneath, from the bottom, and then here the next bear market comes underneath, as you can see. And then everyone started talking about it. Oh, look what I've found, and yeah, good on you. What we have here is a very interesting anchored VWAP that we take from the top, but we use the settings on the anchored VWAP, so you can do it yourself, is you tick this box and have these numbers in there, okay? All right, there's your settings. Take it from the top, and then you see what the different lines do. So this is like the multiplier of the anchored VWAP main green line. Okay, so, and we can see what that does as well all the way along. Okay, so we can see here when in the bear market it comes down and touches this yellow, right? We can see it does it here as well. And then when it's forming the bottom, the yellow peels right down away from it all. Okay, you can see that similarly with the blue, we stays away, and then it really takes off when it hits the bottom. Okay, on the other hand, we have here this blue line, and at the top, and it's when it goes into the bull market, it holds it all the way up, and when it crosses under, you know you're in the bear market. Okay, let's have a look each cycle. So there's that yellow, pulls away and pulls away on the blue when it's near the bottom. We can see the blue came along and then it held it, and then when it went underneath, you knew the bear market was coming, because this was the top and this was the double top. Okay, so this was the actual, what they technically call the top, and it just had a double top. So this was actually the top of the cycle. So you have it, once it broke there, you knew the bear market was coming. Okay, then you have the, on this, we're going to take it from the double top, okay, and then it'll come down yellow, holds, and then breaks away when it's forming the bottom, same as the blue, goes miles away when it starts forming the bottom, and then the top blue line comes along, and on this cycle, and that's why everyone's wrong, all the silly influencers saying it's the same and the 4-year cycle is going to be the same, and well, it's not the same. Okay, I can prove with probably 50 to 100 different facts to tell you that this cycle was not the same. Okay, you would hear me spoke about many things that tell you why this is not the same. Okay, even though we topped similarly with the in the cycle, okay, the cycle was different, and the reason it was different was because it's now a Wall Street token. Okay, retail isn't moving this much anymore. There's not many retail people that come in and buy a Bitcoin at 100,000, whereas a few cycles ago, mums and dads could buy in at 300, 800, $3,000. Now it's 100 grand at some point. You don't get many retail people coming in and pushing the price up. So it's institutions, BlackRock is basically manipulating the market now, which you can see on the recent drop that just happened last night. That's BlackRock selling over 3,000 Bitcoin. So we can see here that on this cycle, we'll go back to what I was saying, this cycle in the blue, it stayed underneath it, okay, and it didn't use it as a parabola rise, as you could see previously, okay. So that made this cycle different, which means the bear market is not going to be the same as every other cycle because these cycles mirrored each other. This cycle does not. There was no parabola. There was no alt season. It's moved by institutions. They use different cycles, okay? So now we will have a look at the yellow and the blue for this current one. So we can see here the yellow holding, and now it's moving away. So we need to see this drop right off, same as the blue, for it to say that the bottom is in or forming. You can have, this, and then we had this Black Swan FTX idiot selling all his customers Bitcoin, and that crashed it down here. So normally that would have just been a normal bottom had he not been around. And then we have here the blue and the yellow haven't really taken off away yet, okay? So that's one sign to say that this may not be the bottom, okay, because this hasn't quite moved away yet. You can see here the drop on all the other times. As I said, use the anchored VWAP, those settings, you can do it yourself. And then obviously the blue line, well, that's in the future. So now we'll have a look at this middle VWAP, anchored VWAP, the green line from the top. So from here, we come along, and then at the next bear market bottom, it goes close to it, but doesn't touch it, even on the COVID crash. Then we take it from the next top, comes along, doesn't quite touch it, gets close to it, okay, just like before. Then we take it from this top, and we come along, and look where we are. So that's a case to say that maybe this is the bottom, because every other time it didn't go past that VWAP, right? So this is what we want to keep an eye on, this yellow and blue multiplier of the anchored VWAP here, to see if this starts stretching down. That means that this is the bottom, okay? And you can even use this VWAP here. You can see how it holds it down. Once we break above, well, we're in the bull cycle, okay? So it needs to get above this VWAP to be fully confirmed bull cycle, right? So that's a very interesting look at the anchored VWAP and multipliers of it, and can give us an indication what's happening now is we want to see this turn down, and we know that this is a possible bottom. And there's many other videos I've done recently that show multiple things why this could be the bottom. Okay, there's many indicators indicating it, and this here is another one, this green VWAP, but we need to see this confirm, okay? We also have this from previously, if you know this chart, if you've seen previous videos, and now we've had this rejection here, okay? So possible that this could happen, and we have the final flush down around to that 54k area I was talking about, okay? And then that would then put the RSI underneath, and then it comes back up. So we could see that here. Once that goes underneath, then you know there's going to be a flush down to that area. By then it might be a little bit too late because it's a lagging indicator. So, or will it be something like this, where this is the bottom forming here, and then we see it hold above this blue trend line, and we move up and it doesn't get down to that area that everyone wants, okay? Here's another indication of why a bottom could be possible, is that in all the other times at the bottoms here, let's turn this off. Okay, so we can see it touches this on the 2-day. I know I've used this on the 5-day. Also on the 2-day, you can see it touches it. Okay, when it's at the bottom. Now the time it didn't do it was around here, and that's because I'll show you in a minute. And then here, touched it at the bottom. Here was the COVID crash. Here was the bottom, and it's done it back here when it came down to that 60k area. So now we'll have a look at why that time it did it a few times at around this area. Okay, so we can see the yellow moving average, okay, the 55 is under the, when it was above the grey moving average here, okay. There's all my moving averages. You can get this indicator if you go to my trading view or in Discord. And then it was above it here, okay, and it only when it goes below the grey and then touches it will it be valid. So we'll now move to the current situation, and we had it back here, okay, the yellow's under the grey, and then it's done it again here. So that's another indication that it, you know, you can see it only does it when it's near the bottom, except for that one time, but that was because it's the moving averages were above that grey, so it made it invalid. Okay, it's just another indication to say that this could be a bottom. All right, once you get many indications from analysis you do on charts using things like this and other indicators, then and they all stack up to say this is a possible bottom, well, it's, you know, trading's about probabilities, so you go with it. Now let's have a look at the current situation. So in the last video we were talking about this VWAP and then the red trend line here. Okay, this VWAP and then there that we're going to short, and I just put this in Discord of a possible right shoulder here, you know, but don't worry about the timing of it, but a drop down around this area here or here for a right shoulder, come up And then we see what happens when it retouches this red trend line, if it touches this red trend line, okay? And then they're short, and I told them the short had been activated up here, okay? So let's have a look where we are now. So we're up here with the short, came down, took out that POC, which I said is your first take profit. Okay, so we can get rid of that, and that daily level got taken out, as you can see, and then it had a bounce off there back up to the VWAP, reject, breaks the trend line, comes up, retests underneath it, drops down. Okay, all the while retesting even the VWAP, taking out all these NPOCs that it created while going up and down and everywhere. Okay, we've got this new NPOC here, daily level here, and I think this one's now been taken out, this daily level. And now we come down to this VWAP that it's used to hold all the way along. As you can see now, it's testing underneath it. So if it rejects off there, then we could see that move down to around this area here. If it breaks that, then there's nothing in its way, and it will come down to around here and probably hit down to this MPOC weekly, or test this trend line all the way from the 126k top, this yellow trend line. And then you would want to see it, for the bull case, you would want to see it hold there so it makes a higher low, okay? Or is this just going to be the drop here, test underneath the trend line, and then now it's just going to drop all the way down to that 54k region? So we're keeping a close eye on this. So far things are going as planned. Okay, in the short, holding the short, and this is your next take profit, this NPOC, which it'll definitely touch because it's that close to it and it's underneath the VWAP. It'll take this out for sure, and then we see what happens in this area here to see if it bounces up. Once it retakes this trend line, we know it's going to go much higher and it'll break this other red trend line, okay, on that. All right, so that's what I'm watching for now. Is I'm in the short from here, so we're gonna, once we take this, we move the stop loss down to break even or more, and then you take a little bit of profit off here and let the rest ride to see if this does crash down, then you're in a trade, and if not, you just close it on a sign of strength, which would be probably reclaiming this POC level, say 60. I'd probably wait until it got up around here, actually around 64.7. Okay, that would be a sign of strength that it's recovered and would probably be moving back up. I'm also starting to check this chart as well, the BTC USD perpetual, because they have different, it's the same chart and it's on Bybit, but this is the USD, the other one's USDT spot, okay, that one that we just had, and this one shows the open interest on it, okay, with the CVD, and we can see here that we had this area here where price was trying to get higher, the CVD was going down and open interest was going up, which means that large players were shorting here, okay, and gobbling up all the buys. And now we've had the drop. That would have probably been BlackRock because they transferred 3,000 coins in the last day to Coinbase to sell, and this is them moving the price down. So now it's how far they want to go, and like I said, there's those information in that last chart there of possibility of what's going to happen. So it said with this chart here, we have different levels and there's different NPOCs. And even here, the VWAP was up here, whereas on the other one, the VWAP was down here, okay? So when I was in the Discord to my students, I said when we're around here that this probably won't hold. When I was saying here, this VWAP, and you could short here or up at the trend line, and then I said, well, this short may not hold because on this chart, the VWAP hadn't been touched and it was up here at the red trend line, which means this was a high probability to come up to here on this chart, which would have then moved this up to here on this chart. So now I'm starting to take a bit of notice of both, and even the trend line is a little bit different as well, as you can see. So, and I said the NPOCs are different, but we're looking at this here as well to see what's happening. And as I said, right now they're shorting, and this is a move down, and we're going down to those levels, possible levels. All right. Bit of a long one, but some good information. And as I said, you'll probably see this chart here with this stuff here coming out in the next few weeks from all the dumb influencers that you follow. Because no one's done this on YouTube or social media. You see all this sort of stuff from pros like me. See you in the next one. You know where to go in the Discord if you want to become a student.